we are going to discuss the next part in our unit number 1, that is the ethics in research. So before we start, let me understand from you people, what do you mean by ethics? Vinod, you yesterday told what is ethics. What is ethics? Onkar, Shubham, Yogesh. Hmm? Preeti, Pooja, Pallavi, Harish. You can speak up, nothing is wrong. Whatever you understand, you can speak up. Shubham, Kunal. My question is, what is ethics? What do you understand by ethics? Have you heard this word ethics? Vinod, Vinod.
The
person be
Hmm? You are right. You speak up,
moral value.
Simran. Moral
the,
values,
the branch of knowledge that deals with moral principles.
right? Yogesh,
or guidelines
guidelines for.
performing the research.
Okay.
The
While
moral
conducting
values from culture.
values from culture. Okay. Is this PPT visible to you all?
Yes, sir.
Hmm.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Hmm.
Yes, sir.
So, okay, thank you. So, ethical principles in research we need to understand, and before that, we need to understand what is ethics first. As you people rightly said, moral values, principles, all those which we use in routine to understand what is right and what is wrong. All that is called as ethics. So, ethics, we should know that accepting the responsibility to behave ethically towards those who are affected by your research. While conducting a research, first of all, we need to understand that we have to accept the responsibility of behaving ethically towards all those participants who may be affected by your research. Ethics is the study of proper action. So what is right, what is wrong? So ethics is all about having an appropriate action towards the different participants who are being participated in your research. So the researcher need to take responsibility of behaving ethically towards all those participants who are participating in your research. Research ethics concern the responsibility of researchers to be honest and respectful to all the individuals who may be affected by the research and studies or their reports of the studies results. The research ethics, we should understand that we need to be honest. We need to be honest and respectful to all those participants who are involved in your research. Just a second, someone is waiting in lobby. So while conducting a research, the researcher need to be honest towards the participant. He should communicate the truth. He should do the practices which are being accepted by the society, and the researcher also need to be respectful to all the participants who are directly or indirectly participated or may be affected by the research studies or the reports of the study results. So again, going back to what is ethics. Before, as we understood that ethics need to be practiced while conducting a research, we need to understand what is ethics. So ethics are principles for guiding decision making and reconciling the conflicting values. So this research ethics are different principles for guiding decision making while we are taking decisions. Many times we have difficulty in taking the decisions whether we are doing right or wrong. So these ethics are the different principles which guide your decision making and helps you to reconciling means combining or integrating the different conflicting values. Whatever conflicts are there in your mind while taking the decision regarding what is right or wrong, these ethics, that means all the principles, can help you to take the decision what is wrong, what is appropriate for taking an action or any decision. This ethics is basically people's personal value systems. Ethics is what? It is basically a people's personal value systems. Have you heard of value systems in OB or any other subject? Value systems. What is people's value system? Have you heard of this term? Value system means beliefs. What people believe about the actions. What is wrong and what is right. And these beliefs are being formed by different factors. That may be the culture, the people around the person, the family, the relatives, or the all the people who are around the around any person. So all those value systems or beliefs are being formed by different factors, and these beliefs about what is wrong and right, those form your ethical values of a person. So what one person considers to be good or right may be considered bad or wrong by another person. This also need to be considered. That some person may think any action is right, or some person the same action or the decision or act may be bad for other. So this happens many times. Many times we may feel that this is bad, but someone who is doing that, he may feel that it is good. So it depends on the person to person. These values will differ from person to person. Are you getting the concept of ethics? What is basically the ethics?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Who
sir.
can tell me?
Yes,
Who
sir.
can tell me? Vinod, you. I encourage all the people to participate. You please interact. It need to be interactive. I also want to understand what you already know, or do you understand or not. What is ethics now? Pallavi, what did you understand about ethics now? Harish, Shubham, anybody, please talk. May be wrong. Have you really understood what is ethics?
Sir, ethics is a moral philosophy or a code of moral
Huh.
practices.
Huh.
A person or group in that.
Okay, Devendra.
What is the wrong and bad thing, right or wrong? Ethics.
Okay, okay.
Sir, belief about what is morally correct or acceptable.
Okay, okay. Very right. That means ethics are all the different principles about doing right or wrong, about taking decisions regarding any act, whether it is right or wrong. and these values or principles are being formed by the different factors in and around a person, the culture, the family, or the people around the person. And also we need to understand at this point that there may be different values or principles of different people, as it differs from person to person. While conducting a research, as I told you, we need to follow the basic principles of ethics about what is right and wrong. So this ethics, as we discussed, are norms of conduct that distinguish between acceptable and unacceptable behavior. Somebody rightly pointed about this acceptable and unacceptable behavior. There may be some behavior which is acceptable or unacceptable by the society, that the researcher need to understand. The ethics, the principles of ethics, all those norms of conduct need to be understood, what is acceptable and what is unacceptable. Ethics are principles and guidelines that help us to uphold what we value, what behavior or what acts we value, and what we accept. So all these ethics are the principles as well as guidelines that can help us to protect or to uphold all those things we value or we accept as a society. In research ethics involves all the application of fundamental principles to variety of topics involving scientific research. While conducting any research, you will see that there are many stages wherein we need to understand the behavior of researcher, whether it is right or wrong. We should follow the principles of ethics, that is what is right or wrong at many stages of the research. This research ethics educates and monitors a scientist conducting a research to ensure high ethical standards. So these ethical principles or research ethics will help a researcher to ensure that the ethical values will be protected or ethical standards will be maintained. Now the importance why research ethics need to be followed. The importance of it, we should first understand. It is reflection of respect for those who take part in the research, the different participants who are participating in a research. Following a research, that means giving a respect to those people who are participating in your research. It ensures no unreasonable, unsafe, or thoughtless demands are made by the researcher. If we are following research ethics, it can protect the participants from the unreasonable, unsafe, or thoughtless demands. Also, it keeps the researcher from committing any errors while seeking knowledge and truth. So research is about seeking the knowledge and the truth, the facts. So following the research ethics can help researcher to avoid these errors while conducting a research. Understood till now? Shall we go ahead?
Yes, sir.
Different principles of ethics we need to understand while conducting research. First of all, the first principle, the first ethical issue about research ethics is about harm to the participants, harming the participants. So researchers should take every precaution to ensure that participants are not subjected to undue harm or stress. While conducting a research, researchers should take care that nobody, all the participants should be protected from any harm. The harm during the research may be harm and discomfort may be of any type. That may be physical. Somebody may get injured during the research, whatever experiments you are doing. There may be a physical injury. Another form of harm may be emotional, the stress to the participants, that also should be avoided. There may be social harm, like loss of social support, the loss of social identity, that may be also kind of social harm to the participants. Or there may be even a type of harm to the participant, like financial loss, or loss like loss of wages, loss of salary, loss of jobs. So such types of harms to the participants should be avoided. The researcher should be keen to understand what problems may the participant face after the research, and such activities, such behaviors, the researcher should avoid so that the harm to the participants can be avoided. Researcher must use strategies to minimize all those types of harms and discomfort, even ones that are temporary. Even if the harm to the participant is temporary, that also the researcher should see to it that how that can be avoided so far. Have you understood harm to the participants? How what type of harm to the participants can occur and how it can be avoided? Are you getting?
Yes, sir.
Then second issue related to research ethics is informed consent. What is consent? Have you heard of this word consent? Consent means what? Devendra, Harish, be participative. I want each one of you to talk something. It may be wrong, but you should try. Simran.
Sir, consent means to accept those things. Sir,
To?
to accept sir काही गोष्टी accept करणं, राजी करणं किंवा
Correct. Consent means agreement. The
Granting
participant
permission.
granting permission and anything. Pallavi. So you're right. Oh, you know, the consent means agreement. The participant should agree to be participative in your research. So that consent need to be taken from the participants. From the this consent need to be taken from the participants well before you conduct any research. So participants should not be forced to participate in any research. They should be informed, and consent need to be taken before we conduct the research. That is what we call it as a informed consent. We should take consent from the participants before we conduct the research. To participate in the research, there should not be any forceful participation in the research. The voluntary informed consent is essential for research involving human subjects. Whenever we are conducting any research with human being, the voluntary, that means it should be agreed by the participants. It should be known to the participants, and the participant should be voluntarily participate into the research. Voluntary and informed consent is very important for research whenever we are conducting a research with a human being. So according to the APA means American Psychologists Association, they have informed consent about, they have given some guidelines related to informed consent, what it should include. So according to American Psychological Association, what they say is the informed consent should include description of the nature of the research, what type of research it is, what that research is all about, what are the different activities which are involved in that particular research, what type of participation of the participant are expected during the research, what may be the benefits of that particular research to the participants, what may be possible risk in that particular research. So description of nature of that research need to be communicated. Then statement that research is voluntary and participants can withdraw at any time. So the participants need to be informed of that the research is voluntary. So the participants should be allowed to participate in the research voluntarily. They should not be forced. This should be communicated to the participants, and they also need to be informed that they can withdraw their participation at any point of time during the conduct of the research. Then identification of risk and benefit. So during the research, what are the different types of risks which are involved? May it be physical, financial, emotional. What are the different types of risk and benefits out of the research that need to be identified and then need to be communicated to the participants? Then descriptions of how confidentiality will be protected. The data or information which we are obtaining, how that data or that information can be kept confidential. The description of it also need to be written, or that should become the same to become communicated to the participants. The participation to be need to be taken in confidence related to the confidentiality of the research. They should feel confident that my data or what my personal information will be kept confidential. Then description of the compensation. So that compensation, whatever the in some research the compensation is provided. In many research you will see that when risk or some major activities are involved, the participants are provided compensation. They are paid for participating in that particular research. So the description of that compensation pattern or compensation of that particular research need to be communicated, need to be clear and communicated to the participants. Then description of what researchers will share with the participants. So description of what information researchers will share with the participants before the research, during the research. What information researcher need to inform the participants, that also need to be described in the consent or the agreement. Then identification of who is responsible for research with contact information. So while conducting a research related to this consent or related to the information which is being taken during the research, who is the responsible person for this type of taking the consent and taking the responsibility of protecting the information, that information of that contact person also need to be given during the informed consent. Are you getting now clearly what we mean by informed consent and how in research it is very important? Are you getting?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. So we go ahead, and this is a sample interview consent form. Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this is sample interview consent form. So from a participant to participate in a particular research, we are taking a consent from that participant, and this is a general simple interview consent form to be signed by the participant. Here it is all this information that, as we discussed, need to be mentioned in this consent form. Like I the undersigned have read and understood the study information sheet which is provided. I have been given the opportunity to ask questions about the study. I understand that taking part in the study will include being interviewed and audio recorded. I have been given adequate time to consider my decision and agree to take part in the study. Then I understand that my personal details such as name, employer address will not be revealed to people outside the project. I understand that my words may be quoted in publications, reports, web pages, and other research outputs, but my name will not be used. I agree to assign the copyright I hold in any material related to this project to that is the name of the researcher. I understand that I can withdraw from study at any point of time, and I will not be asked any questions about why I no longer want to take part. Then the name of the participant, research signature, date. So this is a sample interview consent form which can be taken from the participants before the conduct of the research or before taking any interview of the participant for taking any information. Getting this point? So this interview consent form, as we discussed earlier, all that need to be mentioned in that particular consent form. And if the participants are really willingly want to take the part in that particular research, if they voluntarily want to participate in that research, then only they should be taken, and the information should be taken from that participants. There should not be any forceful participation from the participants should not be asked. Got this point of informed consent?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then we'll go ahead. Then is the invasion of privacy. Invasion means what? Invasion. Have you heard of this word, invasion? No? Vinod? So invasion means
Sir, attack.
Okay, you search it into Google. Okay. So invasion means attack or getting into another's domain, or spoiling the privacy of particular person. In it, everybody want to keep certain information private. In it, we do not want to disclose all the information. In it, so it is applicable to all the participants who are taking part into the research. So there are some certain rights to the participants related to protection of their privacy. So that privacy need to be protected, isn't it? Do you agree with this?
Yes, sir.
Everybody
Yes,
has their own rights of keeping some information private. We do not want to disclose everything about us, isn't it? We may talk about many things about us, but there may be certain things which the participants or all of us would not like to share with anybody in the world, isn't it? So the right of privacy, everybody has this right of privacy. That privacy should not be spoiled. The researcher should take care that whoever are participating in that research should not their privacy should not be spoiled by any of the behavior of the researcher or any of the activity in the research. So privacy guarantee is important not only to retain validity of the research but also to protect the participants. So protecting the privacy can help you to retain the validity of the research. The research will remain valid, and at the same time it can help the protection of participants' privacy. There are different ways to protect participants' confidentiality. There are different ways, like opting the signed non-disclosure documents. So you can take a signed agreement from the participants, or you can provide that information to the participants related to non-disclosure of the information, so that the information which they are sharing will not be disclosed anywhere. Even if some personal information is being asked during the research, the researcher should take a guarantee, or they should sign some non-disclosure documents and provide it to the participants, that the information which is being taken by the respondents will not be shared anywhere. Then restricting access to the participant identification. So researchers should see to it that whenever they are taking any information from the participants, the many different personal questions are when they are asked during the research, they should not mention the names or identification, personal identification of the people should not be disclosed anywhere in the research. Then revealing the participant information only with written consent. So wherever required, whenever a researcher requires any personal information of the participant need to be revealed somewhere or to be mentioned somewhere, that should be done only with the written permission or written consent from the participant. Then restricting the access to data instruments where the participant is identified. So the access to the personal information of the participant need to be restricted. Only the views, opinions of the people need to be analyzed or being shared with the public, but the personal information, the access to the personal information or data instruments where the participants are being identified, that access need to be restricted. And not disclosing the data subsets. So whatever data is being collected, or the data subsets, which is being collected from the participants, that should not be disclosed to anybody than the researcher. So about the privacy guarantee, researchers should take care the data or the information which is being obtained by the research participant need to be protected and kept confidential. Furthermore, we should understand that privacy is more than confidentiality. Privacy is little bit more than the confidentiality. So what is the difference? Right to a privacy means one has the right to repose to any interview or to repose to any answer any question in the interview. So how privacy is more than confidential is, it is the right of privacy that the participant can refuse to be interviewed, or he may refuse to answer any question in the interview, whatever he feel that, wherever the participant may feel that his personal information is getting leaked or the personal information is being shared, wherever he feel, he may refuse to answer any question during the interview, or he may refuse the entire interview. So that is his right to a privacy. And for addressing all these privacy issues, researchers should take care that he can follow all these guidelines. First is inform participants of their right to refuse to answer any questions or participate in the study. The researcher, before conducting any study, researcher should inform all the participants regarding their rights. The researcher should inform the participants that they can withdraw themselves from the study wherever they feel that their privacy is being invaded or privacy is being encroached. The participants can take out their participation. Secondly, obtain permissions to interview the participants. So before conducting the interviews or research, written permission or agreement need to be signed from the participants related to sharing of the information. Schedule field and phone interviews. So give the schedule of field and phone interviews to the people. There may be certain times where the participants would not like to give the information. The particular timings people may want to have their privacy, so that particular timing and the places wherein the people or participants are comfortable, the research need to be conducted as per those comfort or the privacy issues need to be taken into consideration while before conducting that interviews. So the participants need to be informed about the schedule of field and phone interviews. Then limit the time required for the participation. So limit the time. The participants should participate or should give their time for the research only for that particular interview, or the whatever is required, that much time only the participant should be told to participate. So the unnecessary consumption of consuming the time of the participant should be avoided, as well as restrict observation to public behavior only. The restrict the participants behavior only the public behavior of the person need to be observed. The researcher should not invade the private behavior of the person. So that ethical principle need to be followed, that the observation need to be done only for the public behavior of the person. It should not enter into any private behavior of the person. Getting this point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then we'll go ahead and we
Yes, sir.
understand. Okay. Yes, thank you. So another issue related to research ethics is deception. Have you heard of this word deception or deceiving somebody? Have you heard this term deception? What is it?
Providing the deceiving information. For example, your data is being used for certain XYZ reason, but it is being used for some other purpose. That might be example of deceiving deception.
Okay. Deception means cheating, or you
Cheating
may.
someone, sir.
Okay. Yes, thank you, Vinod. So deception means cheating somebody, or maybe not telling the truth, or telling something else which is actually not the purpose. So deception is all about this, means not telling the truth, cheating somebody, or telling half truth. All that are the types of deception. So researchers should see to that there should not be any deceiving or deception of participants when they are participating in any of the type of research. So deception occurs when participants are told only part of the truth, or when the truth is fully compromised. So in some research, you'll see that the participants are not told why that research is being conducted. It happens sometimes. The participants are not aware why that research is being conducted, why they are getting interviewed. So either they are not told about the truth at all, or sometimes half truth is being told. So they are not aware what is in what activity, or what particular behavior they are, or what is being what information is being shared, and for what purpose. So that activity or that type of aspect may be called as a deception, where the participants are not aware what is going on, or what the information is being taken for. So researcher should avoid such type of deceiving acts during his research. There are few researchers who say that deception should never occur. There are some researchers who are in favor that deception should not at all be done, or there should not be any deception during any research. However, there are few researchers who give reasons why deception is required. So the reasons these few researchers give for deception, or the half truth, telling the half truth, or not telling the truth to the participant, few people or few researchers have their own reasons. The reason may be to prevent the biasing of the participants before the survey or the experiment. So it is an assumption that if the truth of for what reason that particular information is being asked, if it is told to the participant may not give the correct information. That is one assumption, that if the truth is being told to the participant may not give the complete information or the correct information, or he may tell something else. And therefore, to take out the correct information from the participant, he need not to be told the complete truth about why that survey is being taken. That is one reason some of the researchers feel. Another is protecting the confidentiality of the third party. So to protect or to maintain confidentiality, or not to make the participants aware of for whom this research is being conducted, the truth is not being told, or the main aim or purpose of the research is not being told to the participants. So to protect the confidentiality of the third party, also they feel to deceive the people or not telling the complete truth about the research. So however, even if these reasons are being somewhat maybe true, or somewhat people are practicing, that complete truth is not being told to the participants during the research, but it should be avoided. Deception should not be used in an attempt to improve the response rates. So if you are not telling the truth about the research, the reason should be valid. The reason for deceiving the people or such type of deception or hidden purpose of the research should not be used to improve the response rates. In it, you may see many times the research is being conducted, and for improving the response rates, the people to open up or taking the response from many people, the researcher may not tell the correct truth about why that research is being conducted or why that information is being taken, or some other purpose is being communicated by the researcher related to the collection of information just to improve the response rates, just to improve the collection of data. So this deception should not be at all used to attempt to improve any response rates or attempt to collect more data. Going further, related to the deception only, benefits to be gained by deception should be balanced against risk to the participants. Even if for a particular good reason, if you are not telling the complete truth about the purpose of the research to the participants, the researcher should see to it that whatever benefits we are getting from the deception or not telling the complete truth about that particular research, that need to be balanced against the particular risk to the participants. There should not be any risk to the participants by telling the half truth to the participants about the research. Possibly the experiment or interview should be redesigned to reduce reliance on deception. So wherever possible, the experiment or interview wherein you want the participants to participate more, give more information, and you don't want to reveal that particular purpose of that research for some good reason. So however possible, you should see to it that interview or that particular experiment should be redesigned so that you should not rely on deception. You should not rely on telling the half truth to the people. The purpose of the research need to be very clear to the participants, and therefore you should the researcher should not depend on deceiving the people. At the same time, participants' rights and well-being must be adequately protected while conducting a research. The purpose of the research need to be clear to the participants, and participants' right, their privacy, well-being must be adequately protected while conducting the research. The researcher should take care related to this. There may be some instances where deception in an experiment could produce anxiety. In it, how the risk. अच्छा हाँ अभी तुरंत करना है
हाँ तो थोड़ा सा
अच्छा students, just we'll hold for some time. Dr. Vandana wants to make an announcement related to something. I will hand over to her.
नहीं आप बोल दीजिए. Students who are assisting me for international conference should be at the institute at 3:30 today.
Okay. Dear students, those who are involved in research conference, all those students